Excuse me, sir. How old were you when you got your first internship?
I was 19 years old.
Where are you interning this summer?
I'll be interning at Goldman Sachs.
That's amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, like going the country interviewing the top students about their top internships, and if you have a top internship that you want to share, let it have on the video to share for other students who want to break in.
Yeah, sure.
Where you go to school, what's your major, and where you be working this summer.
I go to school at UCSD and I'm a CS major and I'll be working at Goldman Sachs.
And what are you doing at Goldman Sachs?
I'll be an engineering summer analyst.
So a lot of students want to break into software engineering, especially in the banking world. But what is the one thing that most students overlook when trying to land an internship at Goldman Sachs?
Just because it's an engineering role, they don't think that networking is as necessary as it would be for an investment banking role. But I think it's pretty important to reach out to whoever you have in your network.
So everyone I talk to says the banking industry is super competitive. To get even a single coffee chat, you send out hundreds of emails just to get one referral. What is your biggest tip to stand out when networking?
Is to be genuine. I know that sounds generic and a little bit cliche. Me personally, I try to connect with people through sports. I'm a huge sports fan, huge basketball and football fan. So if I know that person that I'm networking with is into that kind of stuff, then it makes the conversation moving forward much more smooth.
Now, the biggest thing I see with students is that they're afraid or nervous to talk to these professionals. So what is your biggest tip to own your confidence, speak confidently when networking?
I think it's really important to remember that these professionals were also just like you once. They were in college, they were with no experience, landing these big roles. They themselves went through what you went. So I think it's important to realize that they understand where you're coming from and you're the same person as them. Put them in your shoes.
Now, one of the biggest weaknesses I see with students is that when they do coffee chats, it sounds almost very boring or forced. What's your biggest tip to make a coffee chat just not sound boring?
Weave in some personal questions. Don't just ask about just the job. Ask them what they like to do around there, where they like to eat. Things that are more about their life, not just their career.
And speaking of questions, what is the best question that you've asked in a coffee chat to stand out when recruiting for Goldman Sachs?
What characteristics does a person need to have in order to stand out in this role once they're done recruiting? That information is very valuable to know when you're actually interviewing and when you're actually in the role.
So you probably talked to a lot of people already at Goldman Sachs. What is the one characteristic that all of them have you think makes them so successful?
I think they're very interdisciplinary. Goldman Sachs has a lot of different teams. Although I'm an engineering summer analyst, I've talked to many people in investment banking, and I think that whole holistic view of the firm is very important. And everyone at Goldman Sachs